Am I still an artist if I don't make art? What even is art? I mean, guys, I have been thinking about this for a little while now, and you might be in the same place. What do you do when you just kind of don't feel inspired? And I know my channel is called Lauren Jane Inspires, and so it's maybe the worst thing for me to do a video about, or maybe the best. Because honestly, that's where I've been. And if this is something that you have experienced in, past little bit here, I'd like to share with you a few tips that I've learned along the way. Maybe let's go with 3 tips because, every video likes to have a number. 3 tips how to get out of being not inspired. Okay, that wasn't the best writing. I'm not writing this. I am going to just go stream of consciousness here, baby. So I'm going to first give you a little bit of backstory. I have not created a piece of art since 2021. It is now 2023 and it's getting close to 2024. But the thing is, guys, I mean, if you've seen my channel, I have a lot of art, a lot of like giant paintings of murals and paintings and drawings and everything. I've made a lot of fun videos and I hope you check them out if you haven't seen them already. And a lot of people have watched my one about how to set up for an art festival. And I love that those are some of my most watched videos, but I haven't done it in a while. And that's like, I feel like my dirty little secret. But I want to kind of first tell you why and see if this is something that resonates with you guys. So I've heard over the years, different artists say, I just really don't like doing commissions. Some of them like refuse to do commissions. Like, no, I make the kind of art I make and that's it. If you don't like it, then too bad. I don't make custom stuff. However, I have made lots of custom art, lots of things that's not really my style. And I feel like that can be very wearing on an artist after a while. I feel like when you take other people's ideas and they want you to, oh, can you make it like this other artist? Like they don't want it in your style. They want it to look like some other artist style or something that they have in their mind that's just, it's not you. It's not your soul on canvas or on paper, or however you express yourself. And I think if you do that enough, it starts to wear on you. And if you're not creating things that really resonate with what you really want to be putting out into the world. And the last thing that I really did, I feel like was the final like nail in the coffin for me. So I took on a project. It was because I needed money. Let's just be honest. We artists, that's a lot of times what it comes down to. And I liked the person and I thought it was, it was a nice project, but it wasn't at all my style. The subject matter, the style, the medium, it was a medium I never ever do. And it was an illustrative book that would take a very, very long time to do. Did not realize that. And I will leave that to the professionals now or AI. Never going to make a children's book again. Never going to make a, like an illustrative book where you have to make the same image over and over, but in slightly different positions, doing slightly different things. It just got out of hand with how long it took to make it. And I'm happy with it, with what came out of it. I haven't really heard from the person that I created it for. And so I don't know, maybe they had the entire thing redrawn. I kind of don't want to know, to be honest. Like that would be just terribly sad because I put so much work into it. But the problem is it really left me feeling burnt out. There's a little bit of scope creep there and a little bit of a, where they kept asking for changes and adding this character in and that. And it just, I worked on it for so long. And I think that can burn us out when we take on commissions that aren't really what we should be doing or want to be doing. And it's a great example of not setting boundaries. And some artists are better at that than others. Most of us tend to be a little bit more empathetic and willing to blend our boundaries to make someone else happy. And so maybe this is where we need to learn to work on that and to set those boundaries and definitely to avoid scope creep and to say, in a contract, which I have copies of contracts for you guys that if you ever want to see how to just lay out a simple thing that says, hey, this is what I will do, this is what I won't do. And this, if you want additions, it's going to cost more. And then you have to actually follow through with it. So don't just put it in writing and say it, but like actually follow through with what you say you're going to do in that contract. That's a huge lesson I've learned along the way. But after that project, I really felt burnt out. And then I had a few other big things happen in my life as far as I moved from Tennessee down to Austin, and big state moves take a lot of energy and effort to reset up your life. I also had some health problems along the way, some vision things. And of course, with being an artist, it's like, oh, great. Am I not going to be able to see? So all of that compiled. And then, I took on other work, partly for the money, partly because I have lots of other interests, which artists tend to do, right? So I really got lost in focusing on other things that weren't art. But the creative side of me that has stayed over these few years is still wanting to create YouTube videos. So that has been, I guess that's my medium now, guys. Like, but the only problem is it takes a whole other kind of, it's still sitting in a studio, focusing on something and kind of like shutting out the world while you work on it. But that's a lot like how painting and drawing has been for me. A lot of times it's, you're not socializing because you're at home working on your art. So with the videos, it's fun because you get to put it out there and you see if people like it and if they don't like it. Thankfully, I haven't had many bad reactions yet, but I know that the more I do this, the more that could happen. But I think one of the things I'm coming to realize is like, guys, we're artists. We grow, we change, and as we go, we have to, number one, give ourselves a break. If we don't feel inspired, if we have done a project that is way too big and we're like, hey, I just need to take a break from art for a while. And that doesn't mean you're not an artist. You will always be an artist at heart. If you have like basically just committed to saying, I am an artist, you just always will be one, whether you've done a piece in a couple of years or not. The big thing is we just have to give ourselves a break and gives ourselves time to recover from those big projects, right? Or recover from life. I've had some hard things happen in my personal life with deaths in the family that is like makes you wonder like why even go on kind of thoughts. And that's perfect for the existentialist artist wondering these deep questions, right? And it makes you really reset and realize what actually does matter, right? So we can use these hardships that happen in life to make us grow, or to make us want to stay in bed and pull the covers over our head and never come out again. I would suggest, take a moment to do the bed thing, and then when you're ready, come back out and just like a flower, like blossoming. There's a winter and all the flowers are underneath the snow, and then it comes out in the spring and it's like, okay, I'm ready again. And that's how I feel about, what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to come out again, to create, to speak to my audience. So number one, give yourself a break. Number two is that, accept that you do grow and change. And maybe you were an artist that paints, or you drew, or you created pottery, and now you have morphed into something else. And that is a beautiful and okay thing to do. And give yourself a break on that as well. Like, just allow yourself to become a new version of you. That's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. And I think it's just like a painting that you may have originally intended it for it to look one way. And as you went, maybe a mistake happened. Maybe you dropped some paint on it and then you made it better. You come up with a slightly new composition or slightly different shade or something you weren't expecting can come from the mistakes and from the, time, and just allowing it to not always be what you intended when you first set out and you were like, hey, this is what I'm going to make. Well, it might turn out to be something totally different, and that's okay. So third is, scheduling time in for your creativity. So when I have taken on all these other jobs, I just wasn't leaving enough time for just kind of sitting there and letting my mind simmer. I think that for me, at least, my creative process takes stepping away from all the to-dos. Like I feel like, you have the right brain, the left brain, you have the side of you that's very, calculated, and here's my to-dos, and here's my, like planning of how you're going to do things. And then there's this very flowy side that just, it only comes if you let it just have that room, that space to breathe. It kind of can't be forced. There is a degree of where you do have to force things, but there's also like, you have to force yourself to give yourself time to flow, to just sit there and stare off into the distance, come up with random weird ideas and go for it, try it. So I think being intentional and setting aside calendar time for that and saying it's just as important as that doctor appointment or, anything else that you schedule in life. And you're like, I just have to do it. Like, I just have to eat. Sorry, like can't just not eat. So set aside time for yourself, for your art, for your creative, for just kind of like, you can call it meditation. You can call it just sitting there and being with yourself and your ideas. So I think I was letting myself get too far into the other side of me, my very planning, strategic side. But it's okay. That's all good. So, number one, like just give yourself a break. Number two, accept that you can change and grow and become a new version of yourself. And number three, setting aside time to let yourself find that inspiration. And, maybe that's looking at other people and what they're doing. For me, I saw another YouTuber. It's Sarah Dietschy, rhymes with peachy, and her whole thing is like she has a peach logo and stuff. And, she's just kind of fun to watch. She has all these videos that are very like, I'm going to do a review on this camera or something like that. And I'm not really watching it because I want to know about the camera. I'm watching it because I think she's funny. I'm watching it for her energy and who she is and how she comes across. And so, I, before doing this video, jotted down some thoughts. I didn't plan it all out perfectly or script it. I don't have my whole song and dance that I sometimes do for you guys of making it fun and having an accent and a costume. And I want to do more of those. They do take a bit more time and a lot more editing. But if I can do some of these where I'm just like trying to get across a message, I think that for me fills up my soul and my heart because that's my art. That's what I want to share with the world is sharing a message and creating. I want to create something called Channel Your Purpose. And so it's teaching other people how to create a YouTube channel and how to channel their purpose, how to share their art with the world or their message, whatever it is that they feel like they want to get across. So maybe I'll do some more how-to videos of how to make YouTube videos. Maybe it's like, here's, how to do kind of a fun, cool background. And there's a lot of people out there like, you better do one kind of video every single time. It's like, I'm an artist. Sorry, can't put me in a box. So, I might have done a few roles recently. If you guys have been following me on like Facebook, where I was doing high ticket sales for a bit, and I've worked with some really big entrepreneurs and companies doing very serious kind of things. And I have my blazer for that reason. And at the end of the day, might be a blazer today and a messy, painty outfit the next day. At the end of the day, it's just like, I'm a creative entrepreneur, and sometimes I feel inspired and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I make art that's, like a painting, and sometimes I make art that is a video. But I think knowing what's most important for me, at least, is to be getting across a message. That's what I've always wanted to do with my art. And, and this particular painting behind me, I love it because it's, feel like it's a sneaky message in it because it could be anything to anyone. Some people are like, oh, it's the polar ice caps or something. And, for me, it represented like life and everything and how, because it was a pour paint. So it was giant. I'm like moving it around. I don't know if I've shared that with you guys. Maybe that'll be my next video I share. But it was the first time I've ever done paint where you just pour it on and you just move it around. Didn't know what I was doing, but I had fun. And it started out one way. It ended another way. And I thought it was beautiful. And so I'm like, that's how life is. It just, you can't exactly control it. You can try. You can kind of shift it here. You kind of shift it there and do your best. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. And you can have some degree of control, but also just like appreciating the beauty of this messy, messy thing called life. So am I an artist still? Blazer or no blazer? Whatever job I might happen to be doing on top of this, or clients I'm working with, or doing an art piece that isn't totally my thing, I think at the end of the day, no matter what, I am an artist. And I think if you're experiencing the same thing, if like just lacking the inspiration to create, it's okay. It's all right. Like take some time to almost like grieve that loss of that part of yourself. And then when it's time for you to bloom again, let it bloom. Don't keep giving yourself a hard time. So hope that was helpful for someone. If it was, put your comments below. Maybe you've had experience like this. If you have questions, or if you want to join a group of other artists who you could talk to, I have the Art Biz Secrets group in Facebook. Haven't been that active in there either. I know it's bad, but I still keep it going because I love it and I love the artists, and I don't want to let that part of me die, no matter what I'm doing in life. And I want to help other artists to succeed. I think it's very important. Even though, I went through a time period really quick. On a side, I was going to wrap up, but one more thing. When I started Art Biz Secrets, I was super all about it. I'm like, I'm going to create this group. I'm going to create a course, and I filmed it and I advertised for it. I did all this work, and it kind of fell flat. And it's mostly because I didn't push hard enough, because I realized that I'm like, wow, you put it out a few times and you don't get everybody saying, yeah, I want it. And then, the artist side of me that's like, oh, I guess they don't want it. I let that win. So it's like, that's silly. I should make that available and put in the comments below. So if you see it there, I have done it. But I started that with this mission to really help artists learn what I wanted to know, what took me a long time to learn on my own, of how to sell my art, how to get it into shows, how to just frame it, like how to do framing when you can't afford framing, how to get into art shows when you can't really afford like all these fancy things, and how to just kind of, get it all started, how to do commissions and get clients and do contracts and all that jazz. And then I felt really disillusioned when I had someone that kind of, I don't know, they gave me the heads up on like, here's the real art world, Lauren. Like, oh, you're living in that art world. There's this other one, like the whole New York scene, which I haven't been there. I don't know. Maybe it's not at all what that person said, but I got the impression that everything that I admired in college, that I learned about all these artists that are making, millions of dollars or whatever. It's a whole different game. And that game is mostly wealthy people trying to move their money around to protect their money from taxes. Like, it's not about the art. I think for some people it is. But I think that's the thing. It's like, I woke up to that, and it was so disheartening to think that that's the people that really do well in art. It's not about the art. It's about moving money around so you don't get taxed. And that just was so sad to me. But I think, I'm sure some people really do love it, and they're really willing to spend lots and lots of money, and it has nothing to do with the tax thing. But I think for those people who are doing it for, in my opinion, like the right reasons, of like just really truly appreciating art for all of its amazingness, there is that whole world that does still exist, and they are doing art shows, and they are putting it out on YouTube, and they are sharing their heart with the world. So it does still exist. And for those people, I still want to help them to share it. I think YouTube's a great way to do it. I mean, people are watching my videos I created back when I had no idea how to make a video in, 2015. I mean, one of my most watched videos was on a free editing software. I think I edited it mostly on my phone, honestly. Maybe my iPad, because I didn't have all the fancy stuff I have now. So I'm just saying, like, if you have a message to put out to the world, don't let not having fancy equipment stop you. Don't let, doing a commission that makes you, that angers you. Sometimes you work with people, it's very upsetting. Things can go wrong with commissions, but don't let that hold you back from continuing to move forward when you're ready, and finding inspiration again, and just putting your beauty out into the world. So that's all. If you would like to see more of my videos, and maybe the fun ones that are a little bit silly, I'll post one here and one here, and then you can pick the one you want to watch. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.